radial engines, tail wheels, air shows, and the lessons that make better pilots. Welcome to Retro-Aero with Czech pilot Dale. Aviation history, practical airmanship, and honest hangar stories. Let's fly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Question of the Day Retro-Aero podcast. I'm your host, Czech pilot Dale. Today, we are joined by a guest questioner, Private Pilot Lynn. If you would like to send in a question of the day, remember, you can email us at aviators@retroaero.org, or if you're part of our WhatsApp group, join the podcast subgroup and send your question there. So, Private Pilot Lynn, what is your question of the day?
So my question is, what is taught in flight schools today that barely has any relevance in aviation?
Well, for instrument pilots, I would definitely say the questions on the instrument written, even back in 1993 when I graduated, I got my private pilot license in 1990. For those of you that are bad in math, that's about 36 years ago. They were asking us questions. The FAA was asking us questions on the instrument written that I never used. And those same questions are on the written today for instrument pilots about VORs. And even private pilots are asking questions about VORs that really have very little relevance today. Although some people in the industry are saying, due to GPS spoofing and putting all of our eggs in the GPS basket, knowledge and understanding of VOR should still be relevant because ground-based navigation could be important if somebody messed with our GPS systems. But the questions that are being asked have very little relevance because I have never been asked by ATC to go from one radial to intercept across the VOR to just some of the bizarre questions they ask that never happened in the real world. They'll give us a heading to intercept a radial, but they'll never ask us to determine our own way to get from one place to another. So anyway, even 36 years ago, a lot of the questions on the private instrument and commercial writtens were irrelevant. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like much of that has improved. So much of the writtens are pretty much barely relevant to the real world today. Hopefully, those will get updated sometime soon. But for now, yeah, just make sure to study your writtens and then realize that it's a check mark to pass on to your ultimate goal, which is passing your check ride. So that's my answer to that question of the day. Thanks for listening. Remember, keep the oily side down unless you're doing aerobatics. And I'll see you tomorrow.
You've been listening to Retro-Aero with Czech pilot Dale. Thanks for flying along, and remember to always have airspeed, altitude, and ideas, or at least 2 out of 3. Bye for now.
All right, so what was your question?
My question was, in relation to the VORs being taught nowadays, if there was GPS spoofing, would you need to use VORs?
So yeah, VORs are still relevant in the sense that the systems, like for example on the Airbus uses a DME triangulation or a VOR DME triangulation to verify the accuracy of the inertial reference systems. So they're still required, they're still needed, particularly if GPS is out of service, to verify the accuracy of our inertial reference systems. But me as a pilot, I don't use it
at all.
No, we've never used it in the 190, even though we have a little VOR receiver in there. We've never once used it because we relied on a GPS. And if the GPS failed, since we fly VFR, we'll just pilotage our way where we need to go.
Would you use it in other countries if you're flying?
Well, some other countries still use or rely on the VOR systems, but everything's GPS overlaid. So yeah, the ILS is still a ground-based navigation system, but ATC would radar vector you onto the ILS. But like the questions they're asking on the written, nobody uses.
Or the things that you're taught in relation to
VOR. Things that are taught on the written we don't really use. I mean, VORs are still being used today by the systems on the aircraft, but I can't remember the last time we call it raw data. The last time ATC told the last time in an Airbus that I actually navigated to a VOR is when the captain accidentally dropped our flight plan and we had no idea, the airplane had no idea where we were going and what we were doing and how we were going to get there. And that was before we had GPS in the Airbus.
Okay.
So we went direct to a VOR until we could rebuild the airplane systems to let us know how to find LA. Oh, we figured the worst case scenario, we'll just keep heading west. When we hit the coast, we'll just turn south until we see LA. But
Mhm.
yeah, I guess basic understanding of how an ILS works is important. How VOR works is basically important. But yeah, we just put all our eggs in the GPS basket.
But that would be like learning ADF and NDB. You don't need that anymore.
They've taken them out of our airplanes. Like some of our old Airbuses had NDBs, and they don't have them anymore. And most airplanes, general aviation airplanes, may only have them because they're super old. But everybody's pretty much ripped them out. Nobody uses them anymore.
Any old airplanes in other countries?
I think there are still NDB approaches out there in the world, but most companies won't, and most insurance companies won't let you use them just because nobody has the skill set anymore.
You've been listening to Retro-Aero with Czech pilot Dale. Thanks for flying along, and remember to always have airspeed, altitude, and ideas, or at least 2 out of 3. Bye for now.